More about the developments in the company, we're now joined by Mr. Sapnesh Lalla, the CEO-Designate of the company and the business head of NIIT Corporate Learning Group. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks so much for joining in. We'll get to the news that you've just announced about, getting selected by the Real Estate Council of Ontario. You'll be providing, some, real estate education, etc. But before that, if I could just have your view in, if you could explain what was the reason for the resignation of the CEO, Mr. Rahul Patwardhan, in a span of 2 years. And not just that, we also recently saw the CFO resign. So there have been a spate of exits. If you could just walk us through what's happening.
So, as you're probably aware, Rahul Patwardhan, we call him Pat, resigned predominantly for personal reasons. He's been going back and forth to Singapore, where his family lives, and he just found it too hard to continue doing that, and that really caused him to resign. I do know that Rohit left a few months ago, but I think that's more of a coincidence than coincidence in terms of timing than anything connected.
All right, so Mr. Lalla, you're saying that the investors should not really be worried about this whatsoever, and with these two big exits, what can the growth trajectory be? What can the revenues, the profitability? I remember when, in fact, Rahul took charge. At that point of time, we saw a big upsurge in terms of profitability. Can we look at those kind of days going ahead as well?
I think so. I think as you've been following NIIT, you would have noticed that Rahul put into place the restructuring and the regeneration plan. And now, around this time, we are entering our growth phase, and that's really going to be my agenda to get NIIT started on a growth plan, something similar to what we have been able to achieve in the corporate group.
Okay. How soon will the CEO process selection get completed? Because we understand that you're just the CEO designate as of now. Or would you be taking on the mantle full-time eventually?
Rahul is going to continue to be the CEO till 31st of July, and after that, so I think 1st of August onwards, I will take on that mantle.
All right, so then tell us about this opportunity, the recent news flow about the company-led consortium being selected by Real Estate Council in Ontario. What's the opportunity there? Could you give us a sense in terms of numbers? What could you get from this particular news flow?
We are very excited about the opportunity. It is to train all folks who are interested in dealing in real estate in the state of Ontario. RECO is the regulatory body that regulates deal making as far as both commercial as well as residential real estate is concerned in the state of Ontario. And they are responsible for both training and certifying sellers as well as brokers who deal in real estate in the state of Ontario. And they have chosen to outsource both the training as well as certification.
What does it mean in terms of numbers, revenues, margins, an opportunity going ahead? You could start off at X amount and maybe, see a bit of a growth in these kind of deals?
Yes, so as you may have seen from the press release, there are about 55,000 registrants who took this course last year. The current incumbent made about 35 million Canadian dollars as revenue from this opportunity last year. We will start benefiting from these revenues in about 2 years' time. Till then, we have a transition period. And with the rate at which real estate business is growing in the state of Ontario, especially the Greater Toronto area, we feel that this revenue opportunity will grow in the foreseeable future.
Okay, just one final question. Q3 was exceedingly weak for the company. Your margins halved, your revenues were flat. Was that a one-off? And you spoke about being back, getting the company back on the growth track. Any numbers that you'd like to share, internal targets for FY18?
We are pretty close to, or we are actually in the quiet period, so I wouldn't really like to speculate about numbers for Q4.
All right, but for the next year, if you could tell us how would your different verticals grow? I mean, your corporate learning, I believe the growth is around 15%. Am I right on that front? Can we assume a growth of 15% in the coming fiscal as well? Similarly, you could tell us for your skills business as well as digital.
Sure. So, like you pointed out, corporate has been growing at upwards of 15%, and I really don't see any reason why it would slow down. We are in a string of great opportunities which should not just maintain but accelerate the growth path. The other two businesses, the skills as well as the schools business, are on a path to deliver growth, and you should see growth opportunities in both.
Thank you. All the best.